I was talking to somebody recently about horror movies, and he said, "How can you watch all those horror movies? You're going to give yourself a heart attack." And I said, no. If I ignore the chest pains long enough, I might live long enough to watch even more horror movies. Speaking of which, I just got some new ones. I did indeed just receive my latest HorrorPack offering. HorrorPack being the horror movie subscription service that every month sends us 4 wonderful horror Blu-rays. And this is the HorrorPack for, God help us, February of 2025. They tend to come toward the end of the month, so I'm recording this in March, but this is the February HorrorPack. Anyway, one of the things we do on this channel, in case you're new here, is that I open these up live to camera and discover at the same moment as y'all do what mystery movies, not mystery genre movies, but mystery as in I don't know what they are. Anyway, what mystery horror movies are in this package. It's been a long day, I'm rambling. I beg your indulgence as I open this package up. In case you happen to be interested in whatever movies come out of this little package, I will put purchase links right down there in the What's It so you can find copies for yourself. That's a great way to get some movies for yourself, support some filmmakers, and support my work here on this channel. It's a win-win-win kind of a situation. Speaking of win-win situations, it would also be wonderful if you were to subscribe, ring the notification bell, like, share, leave me comments, do all of those things that help me to grow my audience. That's a win for you because you won't miss out on any of my wonderful videos, and it's a win for me because I'm trying to grow my audience against a YouTube algorithm that seems not to like me very much these days. But I digress. What we're really here for is not for me to advertise HorrorPack, nor for me to advertise my own stuff. What we're really here for is to discover what these movies might be. And on that note, let's get right to it. The first of the Blu-rays to come out of this pack is, drumroll if you please, the film entitled The Scribbler, which is not one that I'm familiar with. It looks like it's maybe a sci-fi horror of some sort. Let's read the description and we'll see what it's really all about. According to the back, one critic called it one of the best superhero origin movies committed to celluloid. So it's a superhero film of some sort. And the description carries on to say, Katie Cassidy stars as Suki, a young woman confronting her destructive mental illness using the Siamese Burn, an experimental machine designated to eliminate multiple personalities. The closer Suki comes to being cured, she's haunted by a thought. What if the last unwanted identity turns out to be her? Combining science fiction elements with ass-kicking action from a cast of stunning and talented actresses, The Scribbler captures the mind-bending, anarchistic spirit of Dan Schafer's graphic novel and brings it thrillingly to the screen. The star-studded ensemble includes Michelle Trachtenberg, rest in peace, that was tragic news earlier this month, was it not? I'm just reading the description and it got me right here. Anyway, Michelle Trachtenberg, Eliza Dushku, a bunch of people. I'm not going to list all dozen or so names that they list on here, but it sounds like an interesting one. I'm not really getting the strongest of horror themes from the description. I'm getting mostly sci-fi superhero kind of stuff, but this idea of a machine that can eliminate multiple personalities to erase part of one's mind certainly can be a horror story plot, and I suspect that's where the horror is going to come in. And this is not one that I'm actually familiar with, and it sounds like it's based on a graphic novel, also out of my range of familiarity, so I don't really know much going into this one, but it sounds intriguing. It's not one that I had or had even heard of before, so I think we're off to a good start. Looking forward to watching this one. Next, second from the pack, is one entitled Nazis at the Center of the Earth. This is also one I'm unfamiliar with. I don't really think I even need to read the description on this one because I suspect we know exactly what this is going to be about. These World War II Nazis as villains. Of course they were, but Nazis as horror villains, Nazis as supernatural villains, has become quite a common trope in the horror genre. And it seems to continue to work well, but I will not let one of these pass without reading the description. And let's see what it says. My God, it's in tiny print. I'm going to have to forgive me for putting the case in front of my face, but this is the tiniest print I've ever seen. Not really, but very small. Anyway, it says, researchers in Antarctica are abducted by a team of masked stormtroopers. They are dragged deep underground to a hidden continent in the center of the Earth. Here, Nazi survivors, their bodies a horrifying patchwork of decaying and regenerated flesh, are planning for the revival of the Third Reich. So we've got Nazi zombies, in this case, at the center of the Earth, with an access point from the Nazi station in Antarctica. So this is quite literally all of the Nazi as supernatural villain tropes combined into one package. There's not really a whole lot to say about it. I'm going to assume it's going to be an action horror, sort of not really meant to be scary, even though there are zombies, but more action and bloody and that sort of thing. But it sounds like a fun one. I am similarly looking forward to watching this one. Third out of the pack is one entitled Blood and Chocolate, which sounds familiar to me. And I'm struggling to recall whether or not I've actually seen this one. I know it's very familiar. I know I've heard of it. I can't remember if I've seen it. I suspect once I put it in, if I have seen it, I'll immediately be able to say, oh yeah, it was that one. But sometimes titles just escape me. Let's go ahead and read the description, though, and see what this one's all about. It says, everyone has two lives. The one we show the world, and the one that was never meant to be seen. A werewolf tale from the producers of Underworld. Blood and Chocolate tells the tale of Vivian, a young teenage girl who must choose between her love for a young artist and loyalty to her werewolf lineage. So we've got a sort of Romeo and Juliet with werewolves, is what it's sounding like so far. Carrying on, it says, others may have secrets, but none as extraordinary as Vivian. One of the last of her kind, she comes from a line of loup-garous, shapeshifters able to transform into the form of both human and wolf at will. When Vivian's affections for a visiting artist threaten to reveal her family's secret society, she must decide whether to follow her heart or betray the secret vows of her family. So I'm not sure exactly how much of Romeo and Juliet we're going to get in this one. In fact, this is not one that I've seen. I should clarify. It does sound Romeo and Juliet-esque. It sounds vaguely Shakespearean, if Shakespeare had ever written about werewolves. But I don't know whether we've just taken the basic premise of love struggling against family dynamics, or if this is actually sort of a retelling of Romeo and Juliet with werewolves instead of just people. I'm leaning toward the former interpretation, but I suppose there's only one way to find out, and this one will very shortly be going into the Blu-ray player so that I can answer that question. I am, as with the others, looking forward to this third one too. Lastly, we're going to have what must be the HorrorPack exclusive. Every month, one of the Blu-rays is a HorrorPack exclusive. It's either a limited edition. Every once in a while, it's been an autographed edition, or maybe never been released on Blu-ray before, something like that. Frequently, they tend to be good ones. I'm keen to find out if this one is likewise. And it is... yes. This is Bad Dreams, the Best of Nightmares Film Festival 2024. This is exclusive number 105. And I know what this is, because the HorrorPack exclusives have actually featured prior iterations of this series in years past, toward the beginning of the year. So I'm actually really excited to dig into this. What this is, Nightmares Film Festival, it's a film festival, and these are short films, short horror films that were played at the festival and curated onto this DVD collection. So even those of us who couldn't attend the film festival still get to watch what at least some of the directors or producers or marketing people or whoever makes the decisions of what to include, at least some of them thought that these were the best of the best. And I can say, based on past years' Bad Dreams, Best of Nightmares Film Festival Blu-rays, they tend to pick really good ones. I think the first one I received was my favorite so far, but the other one, I think there was just one other one so far. Maybe there were two. I am so losing track of time these days. Anyway, the first one was my favorite, the other also pretty good. This one I suspect will also be good. On the back it says 10 unsettling selections to test your resolve. So we've got 10 short films, all for the price of one, so to speak. This is going to be a treasure. I enjoy short horror films. I actually think the horror genre lends itself really well to the short form, and I mean that in terms of short stories and short films. Sometimes I think trying to make something novel length in print or feature length in film can overdo it and overexpose the monster or whatever and end up being less effective than a real quick jab that frightens you and then you're done. And short films and short stories can do that, and hopefully some of these will. I'm looking forward very much to trying this one. Well, I am a pretty happy little horror nerd. I have got 4 brand new films, none of which I have seen before. Or actually 3 films and a collection of short films. That's neither here nor there. I did not have any of these in my collection. I haven't even seen any of these. And that's the wonderful thing about these subscription services. I've said before, and I'll probably say again, I really enjoy getting these curated selections because they often include ones that I hadn't heard of before, or if I had heard of, might not have chosen for myself. And a lot of the time, not 100% because no one's perfect, but a lot of the time, those end up being really good. All 4 of these sound right up my alley. They sound like the kind of thing I'm really going to enjoy. And hopefully they live up to it. Usually the HorrorPack offerings do, so I have high hopes. But I am now going to run off and watch some movies, some horror movies. I think that's a good thing to do. If you're not reading a horror book, you should be watching a horror movie, and that's what I'm going to do. I think I can release you from your obligation to watch my video now and say you should go and do the same thing. And until next time, as always, take care and stay scared.